I think it's apropos that I've been given 10 minutes or less to cover such a meaty topic, because the reality is that's what we ask our sales representatives to do when they call on a customer, is cover something extremely important in a very short window of time. Paul, you mentioned our company was in the paper yesterday about possible acquisition, so I'll consider this an interview presentation. Thank you. Okay, so the role of the sales representative as a tool or a method of communicating to a very important audience. We all know that it has evolved significantly over the past 10 or 20 years. So in the context of communicating to healthcare professionals, how important is the sales representative? Okay, well, important to most important, so that's encouraging. Next question. In your opinion, is the role becoming less important, more important, or you see no change? Oh, okay, interesting. Less important. Okay. And I think I have one more. Okay. Do you believe enough emphasis is placed on training sales representatives as communicators with healthcare professionals? No. Okay. Interesting. And I recognize that song, Psychotic Reaction, when I was 4 years old, I think. Okay, so if I could go back to my slides then. So as I said, it certainly is an evolving role, and the question mark at the end really, I think, is indicative of some of those answers. Is there a role? And if there is, really, what is that role? So I just want to talk about a few areas that are really about the role of the rep in communicating, and maybe answer some questions. So what is the role now and in the future? How is that role changing? What are the obstacles for communicating with healthcare professionals through our sales force? Are we paying attention? And what does the future hold? So in very simplistic terms, if you think back to who's ever been a rep in this industry? Okay, so a lot of representatives. The role was pretty simple, and that is to communicate a message to healthcare professionals that results in a continuance or a change in behavior. Whether the healthcare professional is a pharmacist, a nurse, a doctor, but really that's the substance of what they do. And that change in behavior could be to write a prescription, change a prescription, counsel a patient, refer a patient, etc. So that's basically what the role is. And historically, I think it was fairly simple in the context of there was a defined geographic territory, you had a couple of products in your bag, you had a detail aid and some samples. A big part of what you did as a representative to enhance or enable communication was done through CHE. And CHE sometimes was a weekend away with a doctor and their family, or it was an afternoon on a golf course. There was a host of different things that I think in retrospect are why maybe our industry got a bad name, because it didn't look good if it was on the front page of the Globe and Mail. But the reality was that was how we created relationships and communicated with that important group of healthcare professionals. The other part was we had a very receptive audience, whether it was because we took them golfing or because they weren't as busy or because there weren't as many of us, but the doors were open. And there was a direct link between that connection, that relationship, that effort, and sales. So this is what we do now. We hire people, and everything that happens in the organization almost filters down into the head of our sales representative. And if you were ever to take the time and to sit down with a rep or spend a week with a rep and ask them, what are they asked to do now? What information flows out to them? What are the different brand teams communicating to them to communicate to healthcare professionals? What do they need to know about coverage, non-coverage? What limited use codes on the products? What's on formulary, off formulary? What CHE programs going? Who are the KOLs? On and on and on. How is their territory changed? How is it changing in the future? How many partners do they have? It is